So we were tasked in my college drama group to create a monologue performance. It had to be already published. It had to be a monologue that could have come from a script of any sort, TV, theatre, or you could have done a musical number for your monologue, or you could have done a duologue. And we were tasked to do that, and we had our initial performance of it to try it out, test it out, and get feedback for it yesterday. So I had got the feedback from everyone in my class, and I went to see my tutor and got some feedback there as well. And this is basically me evaluating, summing up what happened, what I've done, and what I'm going to keep strong and what I'm going to improve. So, well, for starters, there was just one piece of paper that just said really good. I'm not sure. Yeah. So that was pointless. So yeah. But I did get some good feedback. Not particularly with some constructive criticism, but I did get some feedback, and I did get my strong points. So I had quite a lot saying that I did some good connections with the audience, and my stage presence and the use of the stage and the directions that I could have used were really, really good. There's a lot of them. Good use of space again. But I also got one that said good eye contact, and how it was quite realistic, very comedic, and it was a good performance, things like that. But I did get some criticism because the piece which I was performing was Don't Let Me Go from Shrek the Musical, where I play as Donkey, begging Shrek not to leave me alone after I've been chased by a bunch of guards. It's a very demanding song. It's got a low vocal range, it's very low, and it's a very fast tempo, meaning that I need to space my breathings really, really well in order to do it. Anyway, one criticism that I got was, well, constructive criticism was to try different tones. I have thought about this a lot, actually. I'm going to look at the different. I'm going to basically listen through a song. I've found a cover that someone did of this version of the song which I'm performing, because there's like 2-3 different versions of it. I found someone who's performing my version of it. It's just an audio cover, but I'm listening to the ways that they use their tones, and potentially how I could embed that into my version of performance, and maybe where the tones didn't quite fit as well, and what alternate tones I could use instead. So I am thinking about that. I've worked through that. I worked through that this morning. I looked at different tones and stuff like that to see how I could also influence my performance to make it more comedic and more impacting, and just overall a better performance. Here I've got one which says try different movements. I'm going to tie that in a minute, because one person made a really, really good point about what I could do in order to improve my movements and improve my breathing at the same time, because it has been said a couple of times that I need some breath space. A couple of people have said that. Like I've said, the breathing is very, very difficult because it is such a fast song. You have to find the times to fully pronounce the words and then have a moment to breathe as well. And it is a very, very demanding piece overall. But I do think that listening to this cover that I found, I haven't been listening to it, and I need to listen to it again, and I need to listen to where the breathe where it works and where it doesn't, and places where they could potentially breathe as well, where they haven't. So that could also improve my performance, because then I'll have an easier understanding of when to breathe and when not to breathe as well, so I'm not just heaving all the time due to movement and all that. One which says express voice more. I wasn't sure exactly what they was talking about, but there was 3 possible points and I have found ways to improve them all. One of them was the tone, which I've already talked about. One of them was the breathing, which I've also already talked about. And the last one is projection and dynamics, which I do believe is a fault of the pitch of the song. When I performed, I actually used the wrong karaoke track. The karaoke track that I was meant to use had a higher pitch, meaning it was easier for me to keep the right key and to sing through it and not have to struggle with a limited vocal range. But I have to pay for that track, which I can't at the moment, but I should hope by at least the end of this week I will have the track and I will be able to practice with it properly and be able to perform it, and it will be at the right pitch. Now this was the one which I really liked, which really made me think about the performance overall. It says that this person loved the audience participation, which was really good, but they were talking about my posture and how it was particularly bad for my breathing, and I do fully agree with this one. I do find that my posture normally is quite hunched over. I do need to improve my posture both in performance and naturally and just generally as well. I have actually thought about this. I've started writing up the lyrics for this performance, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in 2 different columns. So one column is going to have the lyrics, and then the column alongside is going to tell me what I should do at what point to help improve the movements, and it's going to prevent me from repeating movements constantly, and I can also remind myself to write in my posture, and I can specifically use movements that will involve the correct posture to help me breathe, especially at certain points where I am struggling to get my breath. But yeah, but like I said, I've got my strong points as well. They said that I had a good use of the stage, and I did use quite a lot of it, and I did have good audience participation. Because this is a piece where it's talking to another person, or ogre, depending on how you want to see it, I did find there's quite a lot of moments where you can make jokes and you can go up towards an audience member and make them feel involved, and it gives an extra comedic experience because it's funnier, because you're like, haha, that person got picked and they were saying that they're a bit of a freak and sort of thing. It's just like a very comedic, very funny thing. It's all kind of touch and go with all of it. It's a really good way to use the audience participation. However, I do think that there are ways in which I can limit it as well. When I was looking back on it myself, thinking about how I performed, I did notice that I went up to the audience an awful lot. And I do think there are points where I went up where it wasn't completely necessary, because if you go into the audience too much, you lose that sense of it being a performance for everyone, and you get the sense of it being, I hope I get picked because then I'm part of this, otherwise there's not a lot that I'm witnessing and experiencing myself. So I do think I need to make it more of a general performance as well as audience participation. As well, the talks about a good use of the stage. I haven't gone upstage in my performance particularly. I've gone as far as the centre stage, and left and right stage. And I don't want to go fully upstage because then I feel that I'm too far away and it doesn't work for my performance at any point because it's very energetic in your face, and the whole point is that I want to be in their face as it goes. The last thing I was going to basically say was to sum it all up. I'm going to look at the ways that I use the stage and how I could also potentially use them. I'm going to look at my posture, and I'm going to look at how to improve that through the movements. I'm going to write up the lyrics for the movements alongside to help me avoid repeating movements. I'm going to look at the breathing. I'm going to sort out the pitch of the song eventually. And I'm also going to look at my audience participation and just how much is acceptable before it becomes too much. So that's my evaluation of my performance.